It's Friday, it's race week, and you know what that means? It's practice time. Formula One is finally back after 4 weeks away with practice 1 and practice 2 around Zandvoort. I'm here to review that, guys. 5 things that we learned from the Dutch Grand Prix Friday practice sessions, the first 2 practice sessions. Let's talk about what happened in these sessions. Can I be honest as well? I do miss doing these videos on my sofa, but yeah, this is a bit of an odd one. Normally I'm in my office, but I'm in my sofa this time for this one. Just a bit of a throwback for this, and you can expect this for the qualifying as well tomorrow. That'll also probably be a sofa video, but but anyway, the things that you actually came to tune in for, hopefully. Let's go over the 5 things we learned from the Friday practice session. So the first thing is that the weather is very much going to play a role this weekend. It was very windy and very wet in FP1 in particular. We've been suffering with that weather in the UK recently as well. It's been incredibly windy, and it's been the same over in the Netherlands for Circuit Park Zandvoort as well. It was not as much of an effect in FP2, but the wind is definitely going to play a role. And on Saturday as well for qualifying, it is meant to be wet as well, particularly in the afternoon. So we could well see some very tricky conditions and very big mistakes from the guys on the track, because when you're pushing that hard and the conditions are so tough, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy for sure. And on the whole, that did mean, unfortunately, the times in FP1 were not very representative of what we can probably expect for the rest of the weekend, so don't read too much into those. But I will say that Alex Albon was definitely encouraging in this, doing absolute miracles in that Williams. P6 for him in FP1. Encouraging for sure, but it's going to be a big ask to see him score points this weekend, but you never know. I think he did it last year as well, so crazier things has happened. So most of the emphasis for today is on P2. I mean, it normally is, in fairness, because it's the more up to date session. It's the second of the 2 sessions, but definitely so in this. And surprisingly for me, Mercedes looked very quick. Now, my tip was for McLaren to do very well this weekend because it's a relatively slow speed track, just like Hungary, where McLaren absolutely dominated that race. But in fairness, Mercedes have won 3 of the previous 4 rounds, so it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that they've managed to get in P1 and P3 with this. George Russell leading Lewis Hamilton in FP2. So yeah, P1 and P3 for Mercedes. I think they're looking very good this weekend. And in fairness, so are McLaren. Despite Piastri having the incorrect visor on his first run in P2, he did manage to get second place overall and split the Mercedes. Norris just behind the Mercedes, but in P4 overall. That's going to be very encouraging for him. It is pretty tight overall, though. Max Verstappen ended up getting in P5, and this is the final thing that we learned from this session. Max Verstappen getting P5 overall in P2, but even he was struggling at times. He almost ran off the circuit at the Tarzan hairpin, the first corner. Had some very dodgy wide moments as well. The car looking a bit skittish, a bit nervous. He was able to control it like he normally is, but it does show that Red Bull, for me, are still suffering with the same issues they had before the summer break. It doesn't look like that car has really taken any steps forward compared to what it was in Belgium, and particularly in the hands of Sergio Perez. Checo getting P12 overall. I know you can't read too much into practice times, but that's not very encouraging, not least because he ran off the circuit at Tarzan as well. Verstappen was able to collect it, Perez was not able to do so. So there we go, guys. The 5 things that we learned. The weather's going to play a role. The times in FP1, you shouldn't read too much into them, but Williams looking pretty good in the wet, which could come in handy in qualifying. Mercedes looking the fastest, P1 and P3. McLaren looking like the closest challengers in P2 and P4. And Red Bull not looking that great, but Max Verstappen will definitely be in the mix, trying to make it 4 victories in a row at his home race and join Jim Clark as the most successful driver in the history of Formula One around Zandvoort. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow as well to go over the things we learned from qualifying. So yeah, see you very soon, guys, here on the F1Chronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell as well.